it one of the worst terrorist attacks, the largest mass shooting that the country's ever seen. But they negate the fact, Shalama, they negate the fact, or they negate anything that has to do with us. And this couldn't have come at a worse time, because Puerto Rico's been saying we're dying on the island for the last week.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now, because a couple of white people died, you know what I'm saying, they're going to turn around and they're going to completely sweep that under the rug. And they're going to continue to let Puerto Rico go without clean water, without, I mean, you understand, just basic supplies for living, electricity, so on and so forth that everybody else has. Shalom. What's going on? So what I want to do is I want to get into some history and show, like, this goes to show you exactly why all these athletes are protesting. I want to build this off of last week. This goes to show you exactly what's going on inside of America, how there's a racial divide that's happening inside of America. And you're clearly starting to see who they care about, who they love, and who they do not. Because the world stopped over this shooting, but nobody gave a damn when our people were drowning in Houston. Nobody gives a damn, you understand that, when our people are drowning in Puerto Rico. And basically, they negate the facts of, for example, Rosewood,
Right.
a black city that was destroyed and burned down to the ground. You understand? I mean, how many hundreds of blacks, you understand, died in that city? Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, burned to the ground. 3,000 people died. So what? Because it wasn't a shooting, it was even worse. It was a bombing. What about the MOVE bombing? You understand? That happened over in Philadelphia. The cops went and dropped dynamite over a household. Children burned alive.
Right.
You understand? But they're worried about these devils. Listen, there's no use crying over spilled milk. You get what I'm saying? Good.
If I may, what about when the CIA went and destroyed the Black Panthers house because they sent a Chinese plane inside the Black Panthers to give them illegal guns, so they could then go in and take them out. Knowing damn well those women and children.
You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. That's what they did with the MOVE bombing. That's what they did in Chicago. They continue to oppress us. They continue to destroy us. And what's even crazier is the police aren't calling it a terrorist attack.
Right.
Even though you got your hand up? Yeah. What's your question?
I want to get big flag to eat food.
Well, listen, when you get big, this is what you do. Stay away from white people and stay away from country western concerts. All right? That's what you do. So now, what you're starting to see here is you're starting to see that they really don't give a damn about us.
Right.
You understand? And with all these different events, I want to get into a little bit of a history and show that they turn around, Shalom. They turn around and they try saying that it's disrespectful for them to sit down for the flag. I got a whole history. This is an entire history. This is America's forgotten mass lynching when 237 people were murdered in Arkansas. You understand? And this took place during the summer of 1919. The summer of 1919, they called it the Red Summer because of how many lynchings there were. There was 3 major race riots that took place during this summer. And the majority of the people who were lynched during this era, during this time, they were most of them, the main targets of them were soldiers.
Right.
You understand? People who were just getting back from World War I. You understand? Black and Hispanics who went and put their life on the line for America, and that's how they were repaid. Because once again, they want to turn around and they want to act like this is what I want to know. They want, like, when has America ever loved us? That we should have our allegiance, that we should be pledging allegiance to their flag. First of all, that flag is a damn idol.
Right.
You understand? And history like this, if we have to understand, it'll continue to repeat itself if we don't learn from our mistakes. And our mistakes is to separate from them. You understand? That was a major white crowd. You understand? Let's say a black or Hispanic wanted to go there. You're gonna get mowed down with them. Just stay the hell away from white people.
Right.
You understand? So this is America's forgotten mass lynching when 237 people were murdered in Arkansas. This is something that needs to be taught. This is mass murder.
Right.
Meanwhile, like I was saying a moment ago, the police are refusing to call this a terrorist attack when, according to Nevada law, a mass shooting is supposed to be classified as a terrorist attack.
Right.
But this white man's mentally ill. I'm surprised he made it out alive. You know what the problem was? He was mowing down cops. That's the only reason why he didn't make it out alive. Otherwise, they would have tear gassed him. They would have took him alive. They probably would have gave him Burger King like Dylan Roof Storm. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So now, in 1919, in the wake of World War I, black sharecroppers unionized in Arkansas, unleashing a wave of vigilantism and mass murder that left 237 people dead. You understand? Meanwhile, sharecropping was slavery.
Right.
What's up, Zah? No, you can't listen. If you want, go lay down right over there, okay? All right. So now, the visits began in the fall of 1918, just as World War I ended. At his office in Little Rock, Arkansas, attorney Ulysses S. Bratton listened as African-American sharecroppers from the Delta told stories of theft, exploitation, and endless debt. This should come as no shock to anybody. You understand? The scripture says that he was a murderer since the beginning. You understand? I think we were talking about that earlier, discussing the reasoning as to why he does it. What more of a reason do you need besides the fact that he's a white man?
Right.
You understand? I don't think they really need a reason to kill. I think that's just inside of them. You understand?
Oh,
straight up and down. So now, once again, sharecropping, just to give you guys a brief history on sharecropping. Sharecropping was, after slavery, blacks really didn't have nowhere to go, so-called African Americans rather. So as a result, what white landowners would do would purchase a plot of land, and they would have so-called African Americans come, and they would have them work the land and live on the land, and they would be able to eat off of a portion of those profits. Now, the problem with this is that now you were enslaved in a system of debt,
right.
because not only were they charging you to live on the land, your portion wasn't enough to cover the loan that they gave you initially for you to start. So the ox that you needed, the horses that you needed, the mules that you needed, the seeds that you needed, all of that came out of the loan. And as a result, the interest kept building up and you were now enslaved. What's up, Tom? It's in your bag. Go play with it. Just keep the volume low and go sit over there. So now, with all that being said, so this is what's taking place in this time. And they went and they got the stories from these sharecroppers at this time and recorded it. And that's what we're reading today. A man named Carter had tended 90 acres of cotton, only to have his landlord seize the entire crop and his possessions from the town of Ratio in Phillips County, Arkansas. A black farmer reported that a plantation manager refused to give sharecroppers an itemized account for their crop. So they weren't even paying the fair wages for this. So what's going to happen is now these so-called sharecroppers or so-called African Americans that are sharecropping are going to want to fight back. As a result, this is going to lead to damn near a race war inside America where 237 people were murdered. Damn those 50 people that were over there, 400 people that are injured and all that. You understand that? Which, once again, that's white on white crime.
Right.
You understand? That's, you understand? Like, whereas, once again, General Muhammad says this all the time. First of all, I'm going to say this. White people need to stop bringing up black on black crime. That's our business. We'll handle our own thing. When a black man or a Hispanic man harms another black or Hispanic man, that's a crime. But when a white man does it to us, it's an act of war. You understand? That's another nation that's harming our people. So what happened was that they murdered 237 of us in a very short period of time. So now, they were refusing to pay them any amounts of money for the crops. They were robbing these brothers, man. Another sharecropper told of a landlord trying to starve the people into selling the cotton at his own price. They ain't allowing us down there to move our feet except to go to the field. And this is damn near what they want to do to Puerto Rico right now.
Right.
Trump does not want to fix Puerto Rico so that this way they'll damn near abandon it, get starved out, want to evacuate Puerto Rico, and then what'll end up happening? You know, they're charging anybody who wants to leave Puerto Rico right now.
No.
If your house got destroyed and if you want to come to America, if you want to evacuate because of the devastation, they're going to hold your passport. You understand? And you can't get your passport back until you pay the bill that they transported you. It's ridiculous. So now this way they can go build another resort.
Right.
You understand? They want to turn Puerto Rico into a damn vacation spot. So now, no one could know at the time, but within a year, these inauspicious meetings would lead to one of the worst episodes of racial violence in U.S. history, initiated by whites, which it's always initiated by them. You understand? Don't listen to a white woman that white woman 70 years later said Emmett Till never whistled at her.
Right.
70 years later, she wants to turn around and say that she never did nothing. Meanwhile, that brother was murdered and beaten so badly, his mother had to look at that open casket, left it open so everybody could know what they did to her son, man. White man's the devil, man. So now, this would lead to one of the worst episodes of racial violence in the U.S. history. Initiated by whites, the violence by any measure, a massacre claimed the lives of 237 African Americans. This is a massacre. You understand? This is a problem. The death toll was unusually high, but the use of racial violence to subjugate blacks during this time was not uncommon. As the Equal Justice Initiative observes, racial terror lynchings. Once again, the white man is the #1 terrorist on the earth. Let me tell you something, black and Hispanics, you have more to fear from white people than Arabs. ISIS don't want to harm you. You understand? Even if the Trade Center was taken down by Al-Qaeda, they didn't run that into the projects on 135th Street. You understand that? They didn't fly those planes uptown. They flew them downtown into the white man's financial district. You understand? You're more likely to be killed by the police than you are to be killed by a terrorist. Real terrorist is the so-called white man, man. Let me say it. Make sure this is plugged in. This charger right here. I don't know what's going on with it. You might have to push the button on the actual thing. Let me see it. Let me see it. That's like it's not lit up.
Yes, it's not.
Yeah, push it. Perfect. The what? Yeah, that's right. There we go. All right. So now, with all that being said, we're going to get into what was happening at this time period in history. You understand? And how you're really disrespecting your ancestors if you pledge any allegiance to America after everything that they've done to our people. So racial terror lynching was a tool used to enforce Jim Crow laws and racial segregation, a tactic for maintaining racial control by victimizing the entire African American community, not merely punishment of an alleged perpetrator for a crime. Meaning just like today. Just like they'll murder us for damn near nothing. Just like Walter Scott was murdered for what? Just running away from the cop? You understand? They didn't even know what crime he committed, and yet he unloaded his handgun, and six of those bullets hit him in the back. Right. This was certainly true of the massacre in Phillips County, Arkansas. Salaki about that. So now, Bratton agreed to represent the cheated sharecroppers, who also joined a new union, the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America. Its founder, a Black Delta native named Robert Hill, had no prior organizing experience, but plenty of ambition. The union wants to know, why is it that the laborers cannot control their earnings, which they work for? Which, that's fair enough. You understand? Why shouldn't you be entitled to that? And this is another thing. If y'all look this up, one day I'm going to try to bring this out. If you ever notice, a lot of the first courthouses, look it up, the first courthouse of Arkansas, the first courthouse of Mississippi, the first courthouse of such and such and such and such, they were all burned down. And the reason why they were burned down is because you would have sharecroppers, or you would have even slaves who would have inherited the lands, and the deeds would have been left in the names of the slaves that their so-called masters left for them. So therefore, they would burn down the courthouse so that nobody would be able to get those records, so that that land wouldn't go to black people in America. Because even a white man knows how important land is, man. And that's why we're, what, damn near 400 years behind on intergenerational wealth. You understand? You cannot continue to make money if you don't have an inheritance to pass down.
Right.
If you rent your whole life, you're not leaving your son with anything. The same way if your parents rented their whole life, they're not leaving you with anything. So how the hell do they expect these people to continue on when they're working the land? You understand? Tilling the land. And then now they can't keep any of the profits from the land. They can't have anything. So they can't even enjoy the fruits of their labor. And that still fits under the curses of Deuteronomy, that you will till the land and not be able to enjoy the fruits of it.
Right.
You understand? Another man's going to enjoy your ox. Another man will enjoy your wife. Don't tell me that we're not the children of Israel.
Right.
So now, the union wants to know why the laborers cannot control their earnings, which they work for, Hill announced, as he urged black sharecroppers to each recruit 25 prospect members to form a lodge. Hill was especially successful in Phillips County, where 7 lodges were established in 1919. It took a lot of courage to defy Arkansas's Delta's white elites. Men such as E.M. Mort Allen controlled the local economy, government, law enforcement, and courts. Because once again, we're inside America. We don't have anything of our own. That's why we're still slaves. You're a slave when you have to rely on another man. That's why they don't give a damn about Puerto Rico. And they're saying Puerto Rico is trying to grab everything right now. I'm going to keep bringing up Puerto Rico because that's going to get swept under the rug because these devils died over there in Sin City. Right. You understand? So now, Allen was a latter-day carpetbagger, a northerner who had come to Arkansas in 1906 to make his fortune. He married well and formed a partnership with wealthy businessmen. So meaning what? He took over this whole place and enslaved every black and Hispanic that was living in the area. Allen and the county's white landowners understood that their continued prosperity depended on the exploitation of black sharecroppers and laborers. You understand? And then they got the nerve to say that black and Hispanics are lazy. We built this entire goddamn country. How the hell can we be lazy? Y'all are the lazy ones. You're the ones that wanted to exploit us. You don't want to put your brick in. You didn't want to have hard work. You wanted us to do the goddamn hard work for you. So now, in a county where more than 75% of the population was African American, this wasn't a task to be taken lightly. In February 1919, the planters agreed to reduce the acreage of cotton in cultivation in anticipation of a post-war drop in demand. If they gave their tenants a fair settlement, their profits would shrink further. Allen spoke for the planters when he declared that the old Southern methods are much the best, and that the Southern men can handle the Negroes all right and peaceably. You know what the old Southern methods are? Slavery. Right. Lynchings, right. Killing them and instilling fear in them so that this world they'll pay up. Oppression of our people. That's the old Southern way. That's the American way. Right. You understand? So now, there was nothing peaceable about the methods used to demolish the Sharecroppers Union. Late on the night of September 30th, 1919, the planters dispatched 3 men to break up a union meeting in a rough-hewn black church at Hoop-Spur, a crossroad 3 miles north of Elaine. Prepared for trouble, the sharecroppers had assigned 6 men to patrol outside the church. A verbal confrontation led to gunfire that fatally wounded one of the attackers. The Union men dispersed, but not for long, bracing for reprisals from their landlords. They roosted fellow sharecroppers from bed and formed self-defense forces, which once again, this was us in self-defense. This was us warding them off. Because once again, we didn't start it. Once again, this is just us under oppression. And really, we didn't want to take everything. We just wanted a fair shake. Right. We just wanted a fair wage. And that's the problem with all of our leaders. We want to be equal with a man that wants to rule over us. There's one thing that our leaders will not tell you. The only way for us to have peace on the planet Earth is to rule over the white man. Right. We have to have our foot on his neck because otherwise he'll keep destroying us. He'll keep murdering us. They need to be in a goddamn cage. That's the only way we can have peace. That's the only way there doesn't have to be wildlife preserves. That's the only way that you don't got to read on the box of Honey Nut Cheerios that the bees are going extinct. Help save the bees because they're murdering all of them with pesticides. You understand? That's the only way that we'll stop dying in the ghetto. They got to go straight up and down. So now, the planters also mobilized. Sheriff Frank Kitchens deputized a massive white posse, even setting up a headquarters at the courthouse in the county seat of Helena to organize his recruits. Hundreds of white veterans recently returned from military service in France flocked to the courthouse because, once again, they just got back from killing. Now they want to keep killing at home.
Right.
You understand? They want to keep perpetuating that lust that they had. Hundreds of white veterans recently returned from the military that served in France flocked to the courthouse, dividing into small groups. The armed white men set in the countryside to search for the sharecroppers. Remember, the sharecroppers is our people. The posse believed that a black conspiracy to murder white planters had just begun. Now, why do they think this? Because that's their plan.
Right.
That's what they thought. They know that if they were going to round up and get together, they would murder them. So they think everybody else is like them. What's up, Papa? You hot?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the AC up, okay?
Okay.
All right, in the meantime, go sit down, okay? So now, they believed that the conspiracy to murder white planters had just begun and that they must do whatever it took to put down the alleged uprising. The result was the killing of 237 African Americans. That's a large mass shooting. That's a mass shooting. That's murder. Not 50 white people who got mowed down at that damn Tim McGraw. I don't even know who the hell that devil was that was singing. And just to show you that they don't even got no brotherhood amongst them, he didn't even tell them what was going on. That devil ran off that stage, dropped his guitar, booked it. Everybody else is looking around like, what's going on? Mowing them all down. Yeah, they got video of him booking it off the stage. Left everybody. Didn't even say nothing. No joke. Because they're cowards. You might have to flip the switch. Open this up. Open it up and then drop it down to cool. See how it's on off? There you go. Now it's going to turn on. So now, none of the perpetrators, participants in mass murder, answered for their crimes. Doesn't that always happen? You understand? And this is why anybody that has a problem, when we charge these devils for the crimes that they committed, you got a problem. You're the problem with Black and Hispanic America. You're the problem with the nation of Israel because they never answer for their crimes. They always want to bring up black on black crime. They always want to bring up what the hell we're doing. We pay for our crimes. That's why there's 2 million in the prison system right now. That's why we're in captivity right now. They never answer for their crimes. And y'all want to be mad at us. Why? Because we want to see them punished. It's wrong to murder. It's wrong to rape. It's wrong to steal. And they stole a country. We get punished for what we do. A black man writes graffiti, he gets a felony. A white man carves his face into Mount Rushmore, it's a landmark, it's a monument. You understand? Well, a black man steals a pair of socks, it's his 3rd strike, he goes away for life. Hispanic steals a stick of gum, goes away for life. They steal the country. They didn't answer for their crimes right here when they massacred 237 of our brothers and sisters. No one was charged. No trials were held. At least none of those who had killed blacks. In the early 20th century, state-sanctioned collective violence targeting African Americans was a common occurrence in the United States. 1919 was an especially bloody year. By September, the nation had already experienced 7 major outbreaks of anti-black violence, commonly called as race riots, because we're pushing back. You understand? Because every time, and this is the difference between us, and that's another thing, their people turn around, and when they were just being taxed without representation, they started the American Revolution. Meanwhile, we're being murdered in the streets, and they want to treat us like the criminals. They want to treat us like it's wrong when we wanted to riot, which I'm not telling anybody should riot, but oppression makes a wise man mad. And that's what you do when you don't have the truth, just like Moses. I think I brought this up last week. Moses, before he had the truth, he murdered that taskmaster, which would have been the equivalent to a police officer ruling over the people, beating a Hebrew with a billy club. You understand? And what did Moses do? He murdered him, he left. When he came back, was he still on that? No. He let the Lord fight for him. And the Lord's fighting for us right now. That's why, listen, I don't give a damn what nobody says. Texas was the #1 supporter of Trump and got turned upside down by the Lord that sent a hurricane to park over there. What's up?
I still want to go home.
Okay, I understand that. This is what I need you to do. Go lay down over there. I know you're tired. Go lay down.
I'm not tired.
Listen, go lay down. So now, by September, the nation had already experienced 7 major outbreaks. Riots had flared up in cities as different as Knoxville, Omaha, Washington, D.C. In Chicago, a lakefront altercation between whites and blacks escalated into a week-long riot that took the lives of 38 men, 23 black, 15 white. To restore order, Illinois Governor Frank Loden called in thousands of state militia, which once again, they didn't call the state militia in when the white people were rioting, running over little white girls, but they call them in when we riot. And then what do? They arrest our people. They tear gas our people. They throw guns in our face. You understand? What's crazy is there's a brother that got sentenced for vandalizing a police car during the riots over in Baltimore. Meanwhile, every single one of Freddie Gray's killers walked. No conviction. And none of them lost their job. You know who they wanted to remove from office? The DA. The prosecutor who was going after those cops. They wanted to make an example out of her. So now, he calls in the state militia. The root cause of 1919's violence was the reassertion of white supremacy after World War I. Which this is what I want to know. When has white supremacy ever left?
Right.
We've been under white supremacy since the Greco-Roman Empire decided to resurrect itself in the face of the earth. Disenfranchisement, Jim Crow laws, and biased police forces. Why are they biased police forces? I don't know if y'all saw that. If y'all didn't see the last week's class, go to I.S.U.P.K's History and Archaeology channel. The whole class is up there right now. Not only did we break down the history of American racism, the history of where the flag, what the hell is it called? The national anthem came from. But we went over the origin of these police departments and how they all trace their roots back to slave catching patrols. That's why they're biased. Because every other race knows race comes first, except for the slave. Because the slave is too in love with his slave master instead of loving his brother. One of these victims was a black veteran. Once again, one of these victims was a black veteran killed for refusing to stop wearing his army uniform. But if you kneel for the national anthem, you're disrespecting the veterans.
Right.
Damn that, man. You're respecting your ancestors who died in uniform after fighting for this country, after giving their life, after giving their spirit over to America, where they've never loved us, man. We got to turn back to our own, straight up and down. So now, lynchers took pride in their actions, often posing for photographs at the scenes of their crimes. Few were ever charged, let alone convicted. Mob violence had helped protect the racial status quo. Meaning what? This mob violence helped keep the slaves in order. And that's all that they want, because they were outnumbered. Remember, these towns, 75% of the population was black and Hispanics. How do you keep it in check? Fear, murders, lynchings. What made 1919 unique was the armed resistance that black Americans mounted against white mobs trying to keep them in their place. During the United States, brief transformative involvement in World War I almost 370,000 black men served in the military. And we're the minority. That's a large number of our people who went over there and fought for this country, man. When we never should fight for their country. You understand? We didn't have no beef with the Germans, no beef with Italy. You understand? Like at that present point in time, why are we going to go fight for this devil? When has he ever fought for us? When have they ever cared for us, man? And notice, what I'm telling you isn't spread out over some long period of time. This is from February to September of 1 year. And the death toll is already almost at 300. 300 from whites killing our people. That was one summer. That's like a 5-month span. It's ridiculous, man. I don't know about all that, brother, but whatever the case may be. Listen, white people dying is always a good thing. Our enemies dying is always a good thing. Straight up and down. So now, in May 1919, okay. When the war ended, African Americans resolved to make America safe for democracy. We thought we were going to get a fair shake here. In May 1919, civil rights activist and prolific writer W.E.B. Du Bois declared, "We return from fighting, we return fighting." Because this is the problem. We went over there to war in Germany and all over Europe and all that. And we come home and we're still fighting a war on American soil. That's what y'all don't understand, man. Esau is our natural enemy. Make way for democracy. We saved it in France. And by the great Jehovah, we will save it in the United States of America, or know the reason why. Well, this is the reason why. You understand? You can't save it. Because this democracy was never built for us. This land was never built for us, man. Straight up and down. Whether they had served in the military or not, African Americans answered Du Bois' clarion call when a white mob in Longview, Texas tried to seize a black man named S.L. Jones to lynch him for insulting the honor of a white woman. Stay away from those white women, man. Straight up and down. That's why Tiger Woods can't swing no more. You understand? That's why O.J. Simpson just got out of another prison sentence for taking goods back that belonged to him, man. Stay the hell away from them. I'm not going to tell you again. All right? When a self-defense organized by Jones's friends opened fire, dispersing the mob and saving Jones' life. When police in Chicago failed to stop white gangs from attacking black veterans of the 370th Regiment, once again, the majority of these people who were being lynched and murdered were black veterans. Don't ever tell me we got to give that flag honor. Don't ever tell me we got to give America honor. The 93rd Division, an all-black unit, recently returned from France to put on their uniforms and arm themselves and took to the streets. And when white servicemen and veterans joined with civilians to form mobs in Washington, D.C., hundreds of black Washingtonians, I don't even know, I never knew that was a word, lined the streets of Uptown, now called Shaw, to prevent these mobs from martyring in the neighborhood, also known for its black-owned businesses and theaters. Because once again, at this time during segregation, we had our own businesses. The Arkansas sharecroppers who stood up against white planters of Phillips County were a major part of black resistance during 1919. Their courage came with heavy cost. As words of the trouble spread, white vigilantes from Mississippi crossed the river and began attacking blacks. The posse, organized by Sheriff Kitchens, scourged the canebrakes and fields, firing on blacks. Once again, that's a mass shooting taking place right there. Right. History don't give a damn about it. Most of us don't even know about this history, man. Right. And that's the thing. When you really start to love your people, you're going to look up history like this And you're going to start empathizing and sympathizing with your people, with the plight, with everything that was taking place inside of America, man. So now, Governor Charles cabled the War Department to request the deployment of infantry units. Almost 600 white troops and officers soon arrived from Camp Pike, told that a black uprising was underway. The soldiers rounded up African Americans and, like the Mississippi vigilantes and local posse, killed indiscriminately. Meaning, they just took aim. They didn't think twice. They murdered without thinking twice about it. A special agent for the Missouri Pacific Railroad, who led a force of approximately 50 white men, later said that the Mississippi mob shot and killed men, women, and children without regard to whether they were guilty or innocent of any connection. They killed anybody, whether they were members of the Union or not. Don't tell me the white man's not the devil. Don't tell me he's not our enemy. And that's why I'll never give a damn about white on white crime. I won't shed a tear. I won't blink about it. Niggas get shot every day, B. You understand that? They'll be all right. They white, right? Right. They'll be all right. Damn that, man. One of the county's richest white men, Gerard Lambert, observed soldiers shoot a black man who had tried to run from a hiding place. Let that be a lesson, the troops told blacks who were also present. Meaning what? These cats are so diabolical, they murdered a brother just to show a lesson, just to keep all the other slaves in order, man. So now, the troops, it's like if vigilantes killed a black woman, pulled her dress over her head, and left her body on a road. Another brutal lesson of what happens when African Americans forget their place. This is how they treat our people, man. When that's not our place. You understand that? Our place is ruling over them. You understand? Our place is ruling this entire planet, man. We are the greatest people on the face of the earth. It's about goddamn time we start acting like it, man. And being separate from everybody. It's a damn curse living amongst these people. The sharecroppers did their best they could to defend themselves and their families and neighbors. A group of sharecroppers and a black veteran in uniform shot back when part of the posse opened fire. Once again, all of this took place in 1919. All of this. Y'all understand? We're still in like September. Right. You understand? The year's not over yet. Right. This all happened in a very short span. Brother, you damn right we need to come together. You want to come together, getting all black and joining the I.S.U.P.K. Straight up and down. So now, a group of sharecroppers and a black veteran in uniform shot back when they opened fire. Hearing the shots, Union member Frank Moore rallied the men with him. "Let's go help them people out," he shouted. But the sharecroppers were outgunned and outmanned. By October 3rd, most had been captured and jailed. Sheriff's deputies and special agents for the Mississippi Pacific Railroad tortured them to extract false confessions to a conspiracy to murder whites. Listen, that's October 3rd. It's about to be October 3rd right now. Right. You understand? That's a damn anniversary for them, that the Lord put that spirit on that devil to take peace from the earth, man. The scripture says terrorists shall make them afraid on all times. If you're scared, it's because you're not in the truth. Right. The Lord said that the Lord does not give us the spirit of fear. That's why the men of the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge are so courageous, because you're looking at true men of the Lord. You're looking at men of war. You understand? Can't tell you how many times we're on the street. Even children will walk by and say, "These guys are scary." You understand? Well, let me tell you something. That fear that's being instilled inside those damn heathens is what brings about respect. Right. You understand that? It's what will make them think twice before they deal with us. It's what will let them know who the goddamn authority is, man. Straight up and down. Get your hand up.
So like I was just mentioning, it's like 38, 98 years right now. It's about to be 100 years. Right? You're starting to see a lot of when they're not out of a guy at 110. You're starting to see they can't even leave their house. They really are starting to be ashamed. They can't even go to their flat street. It's just beautiful.
Listen, terrorists shall make them afraid on all sides.
Right.
You can't go see a Batman movie without a white man shooting it up.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
You can't go to the mall. You can't, hell, if you're white, you can't go to school. They just caught a school shooter the other day. And the reason why they got him is because he was announcing it on a damn blog or something like that. You understand? Straight up and down. Like you can't, hold your peace for a minute. You can't like Columbine. How many schools got shot up by white people? They're natural murderers and terrorists. That's why they're doing this. That's why it's so fitting that they said that they did all this by October 3rd. And here we are, October 2nd, and they just got lit up in that field. Go ahead.
When it says your own hand shall cut them, your own hand shall cut them.
You'd have to pull that scripture for me to know. You understand? Joshua Rogers, right now, currently we're in Harlem. We're in Harlem, New York. This is Monday's history class inside of New York. So now, to continue on. Rigid trials brought swift convictions and death sentences for 12 men whose only crime was their attempt to obtain fair earnings for their labor. But for the white man, that's too much. God forbid, man. Just like brothers that's in the prison system right now. You got brothers who's in the prison system currently, right? And inside this prison system, they're being chain ganged and taken to McDonald's to work for 70 cents a day. They're being chain ganged and taken to AT&T to work for 15 cents a day, or 70 cents a day, 15 cents an hour, 7 cents an hour. And if they riot in the prisons or they refuse to work, they get thrown in solitary confinement because that's not enough for them. They need your soul, man. It's bad. They can't just have you in prison. They can't just have you in captivity. They need your soul. And they won't call it, they won't call it terrorism because they never want to paint their people in a bad lighting. The only people that the media wants to poison are black and Hispanics. That's who they want to paint as criminals, as the enemy that's at home. But as far as whites go, they won't call him a terrorist. They'll never call him a terrorist. They'll say he's mentally ill. Why? Because then they're going to start to realize who's really doing these things, who's committing these crimes, who the real issue is. But they can't do that. They can't portray that in the media, man.
Right.
They have to paint that image. They have to keep your mind that you understand that they are in charge and they are not wrong and that we are on the bottom and everything that they do is fine. So now, protracted appeals supported by the NAACP resulted in a Supreme Court decision, Moore versus Dempsey in 1923, that helped free the men. The ruling also established the federal government's obligation to ensure that state trial proceedings preserve. That's a damn lie right there. Because I can think of a million different times when we didn't get equal protection by the law, man. You understand? This was just one case that they fought, and it was after they took their lives, after they took years, after they tortured them, after they murdered them, men, women, and children. The damage was already done. Matter of fact, here we go. This legal victory couldn't give back the lives of the black residents killed by the posse, vigilantes, and troops in Phillips County. The death toll of 237 reported by the Equal Justice Initiative is a new figure based on extensive research because they were probably undershooting it. They were probably undershooting it for the last, I mean, how many decades, man? It's ridiculous. The white man is the devil, man. And that's why this place is going to be destroyed. You understand? That's why, listen, that's why white people, you're not going to be able to go to the Ariana Grande concert anymore.
Right.
You understand? You can't go to whatever the hell this guy's name was. You can't go to his concert anymore. You understand? Pretty soon, you're not going to be able to walk around downtown either. Commander GEN.YAHANNA prophesied this long ago. He ain't have one prophecy that came wrong. You're going to see white people coming to the ghetto to eat their meals because they're going to be too afraid to go downtown to the restaurant that they usually go to in fear of getting blown up. You understand? In fear of getting shot up. And how do you racially profile white people now?
Right.
You understand that? You know what I do? We don't let them in our school. We racially profile all of them. And like that, we're safe. If that AMC church would have done it to Dylan Roof Storm, they'd still be alive. You understand that? But you know what? But because of Christianity, because of us being such good slaves, we can't do that because we think we're being merciful. We think we're doing the right thing that white Jesus would want us to do. When Jesus Christ is a black man who wants to put these devils in chains, man. Straight up and down. Matter of fact, let's grab some scriptures. Give me I'm about to show you why all this is happening right now and why all of this is normal. Every single one of this. Give me Revelations. Hold on 1 second, because I'm probably going to try to tie this in with another article. So bear with me, y'all. Information that I wanted to bring out tonight, and I still want to piggyback off of the things that we were talking about last week. Because last week we got into that prison. And for those of you that's listening, go onto the I.S.U.P.K History Archaeology channel. Subscribe to that channel. These history lessons are going to be going up there every single week. Give me Revelations, the 6th chapter.
What verse?
Start at verse 1.
Revelation chapter 6, verse 1. And I saw when the Lamb opened the mother's seal, and I heard as it was the noise of thunder.
So now these seals are all different spirits and events that's going to be taking place on the earth as they start to get loosened. Go ahead.
One of the 4 beasts said, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and the crown was given unto him.
You understand that? What does this signify? This signifies the spirit of the men that's in the UPK. You understand that? Men who are natural born conquerors, because we have the spirit of Christ. That's the spirit of Christ. The spirit of Christ is to conquer, is to rule. And we're going to rule this planet one day. Every black, Hispanic, and Native Indians are going to rule this planet. Read on.
God. And he went forth, conquering and to conquer.
Go ahead.
Verse 3. And when he had opened the 2nd seal, I heard the 2nd beast say, "Come and see."
So now here's another seal that's open. This seal is loose on the earth right now. Go ahead.
God. And there went out another horse.
Now here's the red horse. There went out another horse. Go ahead.
That was red.
That was what?
Red.
Go ahead.
And power was given to him.
Power was given unto him. What power was given unto him? Go ahead.
That sat thereon to take peace from the earth.
Power was given unto him to take peace from the earth. And that's what you see happening right now. That's why there's riots going on in Barcelona and Spain right now. That's why that devil shot up that whole thing. Peace is being taken from the earth right now. The Lord is causing this conflict. Don't blame Donald Trump for this conflict. The most high power, Yahweh, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, is causing the racial divide. It's causing all these things. Shall something happen in the city, and shall evil happen in the city, and the Lord hath not done it? The Most High is responsible for everything. Read on.
God. And that they should kill one another.
And that they should what?
Kill one another.
That they should kill one another. And there's going to be more white people killing white people, man. Read on.
And there was given unto him a great sword.
A great sword was given unto him. Now, this is talking about thermonuclear warfare. But that devil on the 32nd floor of that hotel, he had a great sword with him. That's why he mowed down over 50 people. That's why 400 people were injured. Because peace is taken from the earth right now. And he wants them to kill each other, man. And these judgments are going to start happening. These seals are going to be loosened in the earth. And why? for all the crimes that were committed, for those 237 that died in Arkansas, for the 3,000 that died in Tulsa, Oklahoma at Black Wall Street. You understand? For the Mike Browns, for the Trayvon Martins, for every single one of our people that suffered and died in America, man. For all the oppression, for all the lynching. That's why World War III is about to start, man. Matter of fact, give me Joel, the 3rd chapter. Start at 3 and 1. It's inevitable. You cannot escape it. And if you're Black and Hispanic, get the hell out the military. Get the hell out the police force, man. Straight up and down. Promise you. That's not the place that you want to be right now. You want to do something? You want to serve your people? Get in the U.P.K. Put some boots on. Get some real boots on the ground, man. You understand that? Got our brothers and boats that were out there in Houston, rescuing our people. You got our people that's bringing truckloads of water to Flint. Flint still don't got water. What's up? Joel, the 3rd chapter, and the 1st verse. All this is prophecy. You cannot get away from it. And it's because of this history that we just brought out. And in a few, I'm going to get even more and show even more murders that they did to our brothers and sisters that served in their military. Read.
God, Joel chapter 3 verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity
so
of
now,
Judah.
The Lord said, behold, in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah. What does it mean to bring again the captivity of Judah? If anybody at home, y'all could type it in. Abaja, you know? What does it mean when the Lord says he's going to bring again the captivity of Judah?
Like he's going to, once he put us in captivity before, and I stopped it, and I'm going to stop it again. I'm going to stop it again.
No. I'll give you one more guess.
So I can say, I'm going to put you in captivity again?
No. When he says, I shall bring again, he's talking about bring it up. He's going to bring up the captivity. He's going to remember it. The Lord got a memory pass a week ago. And as a result of him remembering our bondage, now you know what's coming. Now judgment's coming. The big payback has to come. Read on.
John. I will the captivity of Judah and Israel. I will also gather all nations. So
now the Lord's going to gather all nations. If you think that there's only going to be fighting and terrorism happening here, listen, it's been going on in France. I just told you they're rioting right now in Spain, in Barcelona. You understand? All this is going to be happening around the world. This is why right now you got Japan with naval ships in the Pacific. This is why you got America flying jets around, Russia flying jets towards Alaska, Kim Jong-un making a threat every other week. All these nations are going to be gathered together, man, because peace is being taken from the earth. You understand that they're going to kill one another when that spirit rides throughout the earth. Read on.
I'm done. And will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of decisions, man. The Middle East. That's where all this is going to spark. There hasn't been peace. They say peace in the Middle East reign in Spain. Right now, it's raining tear gas in Spain. And there will never be peace in the Middle East until we restore that peace under our King Yahushua. That's the only time when we subdue this earth will there be peace there. In the meantime, they're going to keep fighting each other. In the meantime, World War III is going to spark. Go ahead. And will plead with them, therefore, for my people. Now, when he says he's going to plead with them, the Lord isn't going to beg anybody. You know how he's going to plead with them? With thermonuclear warfare. That's how he's going to plead with them. He's going to plead with them with the punishments, with the plagues that he rains down on America. You know how he's pleading with them? He's pleading with black and Hispanics right now with Trump in office. Right. He's pleading with white people right now with hurricanes. He's pleading with white terrorists that's shooting from the 32nd balcony. Yeah? Donald John, son. For my people and for my heritage, Israel. And for my heritage, Israel, because we belong to the Lord. We're the Lord's people, man. Read on. Whom they have scattered among the nations.
He scattered us among these nations, and as a result, we live in oppression and torment under them, man. Read on.
And parted my land.
And they parted the Lord's land. They took the Lord's land. None of these boundaries are the same anymore. Go ahead.
Down, verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people.
And they cast lots for our people, man. Go ahead.
And have given a boy for a harlot.
They've molested our boys, man. You understand that? They've prostituted our young men. Go ahead.
Right. And served a girl for one.
You understand that? They've done the same thing to our daughters. They've pimped and whored out our daughters, man. Read on.
That they might drink.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and what have ye to do with me? Oh, here inside God.
You understand? Go ahead. These are all the other nations that help with the oppression. Go ahead.
In all the countries of Palestine, will ye render?
Go ahead.
Will ye render me a recompense?
Meaning, will you pay me back for what you've taken from me? Because he took the Lord's jewels in his possession. Every black and Hispanic is a jewel to the Lord, man. Straight up and down. And that's why the Lord says, I make a man more precious than fine gold. We're more than just niggas and spics inside of America. We're more than just what they were trying to call us sharecroppers. We're more than just any of these things that they said. And the Lord said, if you give me a recompense, go ahead.
God, sir. And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head.
You understand? And because they haven't, he's going to turn this place on their head. You understand that? He is going to drop this place, man. Straight up and down. America's going down. It's already been declining. The man of perdition is being revealed every single day. America's been having a falling away. America's been declining since they went to the moon. Just like the prophecy in Obadiah. You understand? As soon as they started to go up, as soon as they reached that height among the stars, that's when America started to decline. Read on.
God. Verse 5. Because you have taken my silver and my gold.
Because you have taken my what?
My silver and my gold.
They took the Lord's silver and gold in their possession, man. And this is why terrorism is happening. This is why we need to separate from these people. And we've always been better off on our own. That's why Black Wall Street flourished. Black Wall Street was destroyed once they went and intervened. Once they came and tried to destroy us. But when we were separate from them, we were fine. We didn't have to worry about Darren Wilson hunting our children. We didn't have to worry about them killing our fathers. You understand? Or if you're a woman, your husband, like they did Eric Gardner. Right. You understand? Because now, once again, who the hell is she going to call to protect her? 911, they just killed her husband. She can't call her husband to protect her, and she's afraid to call the police now. They probably put her in a damn chokehold, man. Read on.
God, sir. And again in your temple, my goodly, pleasant day. And
they stole everything, man. They parted the Lord's land. They took our people. And then that's why you see, I don't know if y'all have ever seen that piece of archaeology of everything being carried away by Titus. You get what I'm saying? This is what they do. They come in and they destroy everything. And that's why this is all happening. That's why peace is taken from the earth. That's why terrorists shall make them afraid of all time, on all sides, because the Lord wants his people back. Right. You understand that? The Lord wants his possessions, his silver, his gold, the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians back onto him, back serving him. You understand? Back building our own economy, back being good to each other. But you know what we want? We don't want that, man. The Lord don't take pleasure in punishing us, man. The Lord don't take pleasure in any of this. The problem is we do not want to change our ways inside of America, man. We don't want that. And that's why, once again, they called that, they turned around and called that the largest mass shooting, but they negate the 237 blacks that died in 1919, calling it the Red Summer. Because why? Because it was the summer of blood. Right. They negate every single one of these events that took place to us. Why? Because they're conscienceless beasts. They don't feel our pain. They don't feel anyone else's pain but their own. That's it. And even their own individual basis, man. Once again, you can't love Osama bin Laden in America at the same time. If you love America, you're going to hate Osama bin Laden. Why? Because he committed crimes against this nation. Well, if that's the case, it is impossible for you to love white people and black people at the same time. Because if you love your people, you're going to be against anybody who's against them. Like, this is what I want to know. Whose side are you on? You understand? Like, where do your allegiances lie? Your allegiance should lie with your brother. Your allegiance should lie with your sister. Your allegiance should lie with the Most High. Matter of fact, give me Psalms 139. Start at verse 20.
Psalms 139.
Either 20 or 21. Absolutely. There's no other way around it, man. Every nation is returning onto their own right now. The East Indians stay with themselves. The Chinese stay with themselves. And white people are showing you they don't want you around for nothing but servile work. Deal with each other. When are we going to give our love to our people? Listen, man. They already own everything. The financial institutions. All our clothes come from them. All our utilities come from them. The power, the water, everything comes from them. They got to have my love too. They got to have my soul too. Why don't I give my love to the people who really need it, who's dying in the ghetto, who got to feed their babies with WIC? You understand that? The same people, that 400,000 abortions are happening because of Planned Parenthood that you put in our neighborhood. You got it?
You said 19 to 20.
139, start at what's 19 say?
Surely thou wilt slay, O God, depart from me, therefore.
Start at 20.
For they speak against me wickedly.
So now, they speak against the Most High wickedly. Every single one of these devils, every single one of them, man, they speak against the Lord. Go ahead.
And my enemies take my name in vain.
The enemies take thy name in vain. They take the Lord's name in vain all the damn time, man. Go ahead.
Do not I hate them.
Do not I what?
Do not I hate them.
David was a man after the Lord's own heart. And he says, do not I hate them, O Lord. Go ahead.
Most High, that hate thee.
That hate thee. You're supposed to hate who hates the Lord.
Right.
You're supposed to love who loves the Lord.
Right.
You're supposed to hate who hates your people. You're supposed to love who loves your people. Go ahead, read on.
And am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee?
And am not I grieved against those who rise up against thee? Listen, I'm grieved at Darren Wilson. I'm grieved at every single one of these people. What was George Zimmerman? I'm grieved at every single one of these people who harmed my people. Straight up and down. Because I have an allegiance to my God and my people. Read on.
God. I hate them with perfect hatred.
David said that he hated them with the perfect hatred. Why? Because that's a perfect love for your people. You understand that? Like those brothers kneeling for that flag is a love for their people and a hatred against white America. You understand? And that's what you should have. That's the only way. Like, and stop being so damn selfish, man. You understand? Every single black and Hispanic is every single black and Hispanic's responsibility. Straight up and down. We all need each other. We all have to have each other's back. Does it have to be that your mother got to die before you decide to love your people? Your son, your brother, your sister? You should feel that way when every single one of our people die in the street. I felt every single one of those deaths, man. Every single one of them. That's why we're in the streets. Whether it was Sean Bell, whether it was Oscar Grant at Fruitvale Station, whether it was Eric Garner, whether it was Mike Brown, whether it was all these brothers, man, and the Lord didn't forget about them. That's why in that scripture he says, again will I bring about the captivity, man. Again will I bring about the captivity of Judah. Will I remember it? Because justice has to come to our people. Because we haven't seen that justice just like they didn't. Because they hold themselves not responsible. Matter of fact, give me that. Give me Zechariah 11:5. They hold themselves not responsible when they murder us. And now, with all that being said, I'm going to tie it into what we really need to know. You understand? We need to start putting the blame where it deserves to be. The time right now isn't for us to be charging our own people for the environment that they placed us in. The time right now is for us to be charging them for the crimes that they committed against us, and charging anybody who's not charging them, who's in a position of power.
Right.
AKA your Creflo dollars, AKA these Christian pastors that want to join us with them, that want us in league with them. Read on.
God. Zechariah 11:12. Whose possessors slay them.
Our possessors slaves. They have us in possession. The scriptures just said they took the Lord's possession, silver and gold, into their possession. They have us in captivity, and they slay us, man. Go ahead.
And hold themselves not guilty.
And they hold themselves not guilty, just like they didn't hold themselves guilty in Arkansas when they massacred 237 of us. Just like all those not guilty verdicts, whether it was Freddie Gray, Eric Garner, Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant, all these brothers that I named, man. Even the sisters, man. What was the sister's name? The one that they killed for the cigarette? Sandra Bland. You understand? Read on.
John. And hold themselves not guilty. And they that tell them say, blessed be the Most High.
You understand? They say, blessed be the Most High. Let me tell you something. The person who shot up that stadium was a Christian.
Right.
You understand that? The cop who choked our people to death were Christians. Let me tell you something. I guarantee you that devil, Paddock, was standing for the national anthem.
Right.
You understand? He probably stood for the national anthem, had an American flag at his house. Bet you he did. But you want to make black people out to be the criminals. You want to make our people to be the problem when they're trying to stand up for their people. Read on.
God. And their own shepherds pity them not.
And our own shepherds pity us not. Our shepherds, our leaders, if they were leaders, you understand that? There is no leader outside of the I.S.U.P.K. We are the leaders of Black America. Straight up and down. The I.S.U.P.K. under Commander General Yahanna is going to lead our people home, man. You understand? Is leading our people back to this truth, back to the Most High in Christ. I don't know what the hell y'all doing out there. You understand? But it's not this. Straight up and down. But these other leaders, these other cats that's out there, man, you understand? They don't pity us. You want to know why they don't pity us? Because they're pitying all those white lives that's over there. They're pitying everybody that just died in that stadium, but they don't have no pity on those that are in Puerto Rico right now saying that we're dying out here and you're killing us with inefficiency.
Right.
You understand? They don't give a damn about that. They don't give a damn when all people are murdered. You want to know why? Because they want to go forgive them. They forgave Dylan Roof Storm. You understand? They forgave him. If that would have been a black man, they never would have forgave him, man. Straight up and down. It's the problem. So now, what you're starting to see here is that these leaders, man, none of them pity us, even these athletes. Most of these athletes, like when Sandy Hook happened, Carmelo Anthony wrote the victims' names on his shoe. You understand? When do you hear about our athletes or sports players doing that for any of our people, man? Never, ever. And it's supposed to be like the rich of Israel is supposed to be taking care of the poor of Israel. You understand? Like we're supposed to be in this together. But because of that individualism that's inside of America, like individualism is the destruction of a nation. You understand? Those white people rally together. That's why they don't care about Puerto Rico or the black neighborhoods that drowned over in Houston. They didn't care about, the hell was that other hurricane, man? They didn't care about what happened in New Orleans, man. You understand? When our people drowned. But every single one of those white people are going to stand in solidarity over these deaths. They're all going to mourn. Everybody's going to want to pray for Vegas. But nobody wanted to pray for Flint, Michigan. Nobody wanted to pray for Freddie Gray's mother, who tried to commit suicide after that was turned over. Thank you, Tanya. You understand? Katrina. They didn't want to pray for us. What they wanted to do was they wanted to move us out the damn land so that they could take over Mardi Gras, so that they can rule all that. They don't pray for that. So you know what? I'm not praying for Paris when it blows up. It's not going to happen. You understand that? My prayers are for my people. I'm not praying for any of these deaths. I'm not going to pray for Barcelona. I'm not going to pray for Vegas. What about Camden? What about Oakland? What about South Central LA, where all people are at? Those are the people who need prayers, man. You understand? We're the ones who need it. Nobody else needs salvation more than our people. Straight up and down. We're the ones who need it, but these leaders give that love to everybody else. Thank you, Tiffany. Chicago. Chicago's the murder capital. You got young girls out there walking into freezers, and that's another part of the leadership too. That's another part of the leadership. Why? Because I don't know if y'all saw in Miami, any of y'all that were on Facebook, there was a whole disgusting display of these girls must have been 14, 15, down in what, Miami or Dade County or something like that, dressed like whores, sashaying across the field. You understand that? You're not supposed to let your daughter dress like that. And then you wonder why they get roofied and walk into a freezer and freeze to death. Because you're destroying our people with over liberty, man. We need rules and regulations. We're not missing money. Money won't fix us. Money can't save us. Money, this is the thing too. Money did not save Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was a utopia. You understand? Straight up and down. That didn't save it. Just like that money couldn't save Freddie Gray, nor could it prevent Freddie Gray's mother from wanting to commit suicide. What will save us is turning back to the Lord. And what the Lord gave us was a moral code of conduct for us to deal with one another, for us to give our love and our allegiance to each other and not to America, not to white America. We're the ones who need it more than anybody. You understand that? Straight up and down. St. Louis, listen, anywhere that we are, we need it. Because we're the ones that's on the bottom. We became the tail. They became the head. They lend to us. We don't lend to them. They oppress us in these streets. And these wicked bastards do not pity us, man. You want to know why? Because Creflo Dollar got that $64 million jet. He feels too good to feel pity for us. You understand that? Now, if Creflo Dollar felt pity, he could have used that jet to bring supplies to Texas, to Houston. If he felt pity, he could have used that jet to bring supplies over to Puerto Rico. But they don't feel no pity for us. Same thing with your T.D. Jakes. Same things with your Farrakhan's, man. That's why the scripture says, gather ye selves together, yea, O nation not desired. Is it not, like, are you unaware that we're undesired inside of America? Are you unaware that Puerto Rico is going to be swept completely under the rug? Completely under the rug because of this. Because they got to cry for white people. They got to cry for that concert. While 3.4 million people on the island of Puerto Rico right now don't have power, don't have water. 3.4 million people over there are supplyless and are starving. Meanwhile, Trump wanted to blame it on the debt of Puerto Rico. The national debt of Puerto Rico is 500. Excuse me, I moved the camera. Is 574 billion. No, excuse me, it's 74 billion. There's something called the Jones Act. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Jones Act. The Jones Act is an act that forces Puerto Ricans to pay triple the taxes on any single one of the items that come into the state, come into the land. Why? Because they forced it that anything that gets shipped can't get shipped directly to Puerto Rico. This is the Jones Act. So as a result, it has to first stop in America. Once it stops in America, you got to pay for the fuel. You got to pay for the longshoremen. You got to pay for the salaries of those working on the ships, and then they sail it over to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, due to the Jones Act, has paid $574 billion in taxes. The national debt is $74 billion. They could have paid it over 9 times if it wasn't for that debt, if it wasn't for that Jones Act. Meanwhile, check this. Trump is blaming Puerto Rico for the debt. Hear this good, y'all. $33 million of Puerto Rico's debt is from Trump. Trump went out there to build a resort and a golf course. He taxed the people of Puerto Rico to build his golf course. And then he abandoned it. That $33 million could have them power, could have them aid, could have them all the trucking that they need. Get your hand up.
So like, how's that possible? How did Trump get the tax?
Because that's what they do. It's no different than, I don't know if y'all saw Kapash, Captain Kapash. He was teaching that they wanted to build, for example, if he builds that resort, it's supposed to help the economy because it brings jobs. So therefore, they pay a tax on the land to help build it because he's going to, in return, be helping you. It's like sharecropping.
Right.
So as a result, he abandoned it and declared bankruptcy on it. So now as a result, all that money that they taxed, gone. There it goes. $33 million of that debt is because of him. And I brought up Captain Kapash for the reason that he was talking about the soccer stadium that they had the Africans build that the Chinese own. You understand? Because that's how you enslave somebody. And that's how they've been enslaving us. So all that's going to be swept under the rug. Why? Because they don't want to give our people love. They don't want to help our people. You understand that? Or racist towards us, da, 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 no sweat. So now, as far as all that goes, it has to stop at the leadership. You understand? Like, every single group of leaders says, oh, it's the kids' fault. It's that generation's fault. You understand? They've been blaming the kids so long that 3 generations have passed. All those generations are grown now. At what point are we going to say we have the wrong leadership? They are not handling us properly, Shabbat, what's going on now. When do we say that? Because as long as we keep giving our love to them and keep putting our faith, keep putting our lives in the hands of people that don't give a damn about us, we're going to continue to be destroyed. We're going to continue to die in America, man. Straight up and down. You understand? Any questions? We'll keep rocking out there. So now, with all that being said, what's the solution? The solution is to get into one body. You understand? We got to gather ourselves together, and that's what kills me, man. The Lord didn't wake us up just to be separate. He didn't wake us up just so we could be here, just so we can be there, whatever the case may be, because white America is uniting right now. Right now, every single one of them. There's going to be T-shirts made. They're probably going to make a little filter for your Facebook picture. You get what I'm saying? Because they love their people. Just like when they had the whole Orlando shooting, when all the homosexuals got shot up and all that. You understand that? And here's the thing, too. Matter of fact, get me that. Give me Luke the 13th chapter. Give me Luke the 13th chapter and verse 1. Because let me tell you something. Francisco Luis Albert Baez, you asked a very good question. I'm glad you asked that question. How do we change your leadership? You have to find a leader who's worthy enough of your allegiance. You understand that? How do we do that? Matter of fact, give me Matthew's, the 7th chapter. Find me where it talks about, I want to say it's around the 14th or 15th verse, when it talks about a good tree and the fruit that it produces. I'm going to help you out, Francisco. You change your leadership. 1, get the hell out of the Christian church. Get the hell out of the Muslim mosque. Get the hell out of the conscious community. You understand that? That's number 1. First, your leaders, null and void, gone. Gone. Sayonara. Azahab, you take it.
Matthew chapter 7, verse 17.
Go ahead. Tanya, this is what you do. Don't go to church. None of the churches are correct. I'm going to help you right now. Everybody that wants to know about the leadership and where you should go, this is how you do it. Listen, let's read the Bible. Let's listen to what Yahweh had to say. Go ahead.
Matthew chapter 7, verse 17.
Loud as you can.
Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit.
Every good tree brings forth good fruit. Go ahead.
But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit.
A corrupt tree brings forth evil fruit. These fruits are a metaphor for an institution, for a body of people. You understand? A good tree brings forth good fruit. A bad tree brings forth evil fruit. Simple enough? Let's read on. Go ahead.
Verse 18. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit.
A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit.
Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Now, let's go through it. What does the Christian church produce? Does it produce good fruit? Or does it produce evil fruit? If it produces evil fruit, it can't be good, because good can't produce the evil. So let's find out. The Christian church produces every homosexual. It produces every drug dealer. It produces every traitor to our people. Every coup. It produces, what the hell's his name who got on both knees? Ray Lewis. The Christian church produces Ray Lewis. You understand? So now it produces evil. So the Christian church is out. What does the Muslim mosque produce? Terrorists.
That's right.
Drug dealers.
That's right.
You understand? You sell crack, you get locked up, and then you go to Mecca, aka the prison system, and you become a Muslim drug dealer.
Right.
That's not good fruit. Islam's out. Islam is idol worship.
Right.
So now we know that. Even if y'all want to differentiate and say, oh, well, I'm a different denomination. All your churches come from the Roman Catholic Church. And the Roman Catholic Church is the #1 center of pedophilia on the planet. Ran the largest child molestation ring on the face of the earth. Can't be a good fruit if your roots are there. That's not a good tree. Fake Israelite groups.
Right.
If you have an Israelite group that brings genuine white people, Edomites, into their congregation, that is bad fruit.
That's right.
You understand?
That's
if they're telling you that interracial marriage is acceptable, that's evil fruit.
That's right.
If you have an Israelite group that tells you it's okay to be a police officer, it's okay to work in the military, that's evil fruit.
That's right.
You understand? If you have a group that says you can smoke weed, pop hose, molest 12-year-old girls, that's evil fruit.
That's right.
None of those can be good.
That's right.
You understand? If you have one that says a man is the Holy Spirit, that's evil fruit.
That's right.
So now, you have to take a look at what they produce. We got to take a look at the spirit that's in the scriptures. You understand? So now that we know that, well, let's find out a couple of different things. This is what I want to do. Hazab, give me Luke the 16th chapter, start at the 1st verse. Now, I'm going to show you why you think that these other people are okay. You understand?
Luke chapter 16, verse 1.
Yeah.
And he said unto his disciples, there was a certain rich man.
I need you to read loud, though. Loud.
There was a certain rich man.
You understand? So now, there was a certain rich man. Go ahead.
Which had a steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods.
So there was a rich man who had a steward. And the rich man accused the steward of not doing his job. For time's sake, I'm going to break this down. Stay with me. This is all on the same topic. I'm going to break this down. You understand? All the way. Edward Thomas, what fruit have we produced? I'm glad you asked. Stay in your seat. Don't touch that dial. You're going to get your answer. So now, what do we see here? We see the Most High is that rich man. Those stewards are your leaders, your false leaders. They're not doing their jobs. They wasted the goods. What's the goods? The congregation, the people they're supposed to be taking care of. Read on.
Verse 2. And he called him and said unto him, how is it that I hear this of thee?
So how is it I hear this of thee? I gave you a job. You're making money. You're in here. How do I hear this? Go ahead.
Give an account of thy stewardship.
Give an account of thy stewardship. Go ahead.
For thou mayest be no longer steward.
You're not going to be stewards no more. You need to be removed from this position because you're not doing your job properly. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Then the steward said within himself, what shall I do? For my Lord taketh away from me the stewardship.
The steward says, what shall I do? The Lord taketh away the stewardship. He's removing me from this position. Go ahead.
I cannot dig.
I can't dig. I'm too pretty to dig. I'm too pretty to dig. I can't work construction.
Right.
I can't do nothing that's gonna get dirt under my fingernails. I can't do nothing. That's why, and that's another thing too. Let me tell you something. If you're a Hebrew Israelite or claim to be a Hebrew Israelite and you got to edge up, you're a faggot.
That's right.
You got faggot tendencies.
That's right.
Why am I going to say that? Because only a woman looks in the mirror that much, trying to get your beard all perfect, and you're not even doing it for you. You're doing it for some wicked broad in the world.
That's right.
Be a goddamn man. You understand that? Grow your beard. Grow your beard. Don't sit in the mirror all day. You got to get it right. You got to get it right. I'm going to be in this mirror for 30 minutes, hogging the mirror from my wife. What the hell's wrong with you, man? Read on.
To beg, I am ashamed.
To beg, I am ashamed. We can't beg. We can't do hard labor. We can't beg. Go ahead.
Verse 4. I am resolved what to do.
I'm resolved what to do. Now, these evil bastards, they figured out what to do. Go ahead.
That when I am put out of the stewardship.
When he's put out the stewardship, this is what he's going to do. Go ahead.
They may receive me into their houses.
This is how you end up still going to these churches. This is why you think that they're in the truth or God must live here. This must be a holy house because you've been deceived. But if you stick to the fundamentals that no good tree can produce